In this video, I'm going to explain what you need to do for the photo card section during the GCSE French higher tier oral exam. So the picture-based task is the second part of the oral, the first part being the role play. Now, in the 12 minutes before your oral exam begins, you will be given the role play and the picture card to prepare. And you can make notes on up to one side of A4 paper, which you can then take into the exam with you. Now, the picture-based task is quite similar to the role play in that it is randomly assigned by the examinations board. So we have to follow a very strict sequencing grid to make sure that every candidate receives a slightly different oral exam experience. Now, with the picture-based task, you will be given a photo, and underneath the photo there will be some bullet points, and these will be the bullet points we will discuss during the oral. Now, the picture-based task, they say it's recommended to last anywhere between 3 to 3.5 minutes, so it's a little bit longer than the role play, meaning you need to be giving more detail. The role play is very simple, quick statements, things like, I want to reserve a bedroom. But for the picture card, it's more detail. Now, you're going to be assessed during this photo card section on your communication and content, and also the accuracy and range of your language. Now, this is a very strict exam, and the teacher is not allowed to rephrase anything. So the teacher receives a script, we have to follow it to the letter. Where it says there must be no rephrasing, that means we cannot rephrase or simplify a question if you've not understood it. We're allowed to repeat it, but no more than twice. So if you don't understand after the second time we repeat it, we'll just move on, okay? Right, so here's an example photo card. Now, I had to crop the photo slightly to fit it on the screen, but all you could see above was the remainder of the picture, just showing the canteen, and the title saying à l'école, so telling you it's about school, and pictures of the canteen. And you can see the bullet points beneath. So it says, look at the photo and prepare responses to the following points. So the very first thing you'll be asked is to describe the photo. No matter what photo you are given, that will be the first bullet point, to describe the photo. Now, to describe it, that is totally up to you. You can focus on any element of it. For this photo card, I could say something like, sur la photo, on peut voir des enfants à l'école, à la cantine. You could describe some of the pupils that you see. For example, the girl with long brown hair, you might describe what she looks like, what she's wearing. You might even describe some of the food that you can see. So it's up to you just to say anything you like about what you can see in the photo. And you can sort of make things up as well a little bit. So the girl with the brown hair, you might talk about her character. So it doesn't even matter if you kind of stray a little bit off topic. The key here is just try and talk as much as you can. Say as many things about the photo as possible, because you want to try and fill the time and get content and range of language marks. Now, the next bullet point, ton opinion sur les repas à l'école, we can guarantee you'll have to give an opinion about what's going on in the photo. So, once again, you can lie, you can tell the truth. You might say that you love school meals because they're delicious, or you might say that you hate them, okay? It's totally up to you. Once again, just try and give as much detail as you can. So if I'm asking the question, qu'est-ce que tu penses des repas à l'école? Please don't just simply say, je n'aime pas. Okay, you need to give me more detail. The third bullet point, here we've got a past tense. Now, we can guarantee once again that on the photo card you will have to speak in the present, the past and the future tense. And here we have the past tense. And it says an interesting lesson that you had recently. So an example answer might be hier, j'ai étudié le français et c'était vraiment intéressant. And then any extra information you can give is a bonus, okay? So it's just about them hearing you use a past tense verb. The next bullet point, here we have the future tense. Les matières que tu choisiras l'année prochaine. The subjects that you will choose next year. For example, l'année prochaine, je vais étudier le dessin et la biologie parce que je les trouve vraiment intéressants. So again, as much detail as possible. Now, the final bullet point, there is a surprise question. However, what we do know about this surprise question, it will be based on the topic on the photo card. More often than not, it it will always be a present tense question, okay, and it's going to be some form of opinion most likely. What they tend most often to be is asking your opinion of an either or situation. So saying something like, do you prefer languages or do you prefer sciences? They like to sometimes phrase them like that. So for that one, it's going to most likely be a present tense opinion. Right, so still using the same example photo card, this is the script that the teacher would have. So in the exam, you won't see this, but this is just to show you how strict it is for the teacher conducting the exam. So the first question, décris-moi la photo, describe the photo. And then you describe the photo in as much detail as you can. If you don't really give enough detail about the card, about the photo, the only prompt we are allowed to say is autre chose, anything else. And we'll say that maybe a couple of times to try and get a little bit more detail out of you if necessary, okay? So autre chose is all we are allowed to say. We're not allowed to say anything else. For the second bullet point, I have to give this opinion. I say, je pense qu'on mange sainement à la cantine. I think we eat healthily in the canteen. Quel est ton avis? Now, once again, you give me your opinion. If you say don't justify your opinion, I could ask you pourquoi or pourquoi pas. And again, if there's not enough detail, I could say autre chose. So if you hear me saying autre chose, that's a prompt for you to try and just say a little bit more if you can. The third bullet point, for the past tense bullet point, parle-moi d'une leçon intéressante que tu as eue récemment. Once again, if you don't give me enough detail, I will say autre chose. And remember, if you don't understand the question, I can repeat it maximum of twice. The fourth bullet point, qu'est-ce que tu choisiras comme matière l'année prochaine? Once again, I'm allowed to prompt you with pourquoi or autre chose if you seem to have not given me enough detail. Now finally, for this photo card, this was a surprise question. So it's a surprise for you, but it's not a surprise for the teacher who has the script. And I will have to say, qu'est-ce que tu aimes le plus dans ton collège? Now to cope with the surprise question, firstly, don't panic. Listen super carefully and basically try and echo back to me the verb that I have used. So you will hear me say, qu'est-ce que tu aimes le plus dans ton collège? So you'll hear me say aime. So that is a signal for you in your response to say j'aime. In this question, it's qu'est-ce que tu aimes le plus? So you could simply say back to me, j'aime le plus le français parce que c'est très intéressant, or something like that. Now, another good strategy for the surprise question, to buy yourself a little bit of time while you're thinking, try and rote learn a few little stalling phrases. So like filler phrases, things that just buy you some time. So for example, if I ask you the question, qu'est-ce que tu aimes le plus dans ton collège? To try and stall, you might say something like this. Bon, d'accord. Alors, je dirais que... And je dirais que is I would say that. That's a conditional tense verb, which is impressive to use, but it's also buying me a bit of time while I think of my answer. So let me just do a quick run through of that question. Qu'est-ce que tu aimes le plus dans ton collège? Bon, d'accord. Je dirais que j'aime le plus le français parce que c'est vraiment intéressant à mon avis. And there you have someone coping with the surprise question, stalling a little bit and clearly echoing back the verb that the teacher has used. Okay, you must make sure you use a verb in your sentence. Otherwise, you're not demonstrating that you can use the present tense. Okay, so here is the mark scheme for the photo cards. So you'll see it's a bit more beefed up than for the role play. So if you've not watched the role play video, go watch that one as well, please. For the role play, it was really easy. It was 2 marks available per bullet point. For the photo card, because it's a bit more developed and a bit more of a conversation, they've broken it into 2 sections. So what you can see on the screen now is there are 16 marks available for content and communication. So you'll score low on the lower side of the scale if you are giving me no detail, you're giving me the most simplistic of answers, For example, to the question about do you like school meals, if you just say no, then you're not going to get very good marks at all. So if you're looking in the 13 to 16 category, response to the set questions with consistently fluent, developed responses. Develop there is the key word. Give opinions and justify them, even if they're untrue. Okay, this is not a truth exam. This is a showing off your French oral skills exam. So lie. Consistently effective adaptation of language to describe, narrate, and inform. That's just very fancy language for being able to give detail. So, for example, the question, what did you tell me about an interesting lesson you studied? Not just saying to me, I had French yesterday, but saying I had French and then I had art, and in art we studied Monet or something like that. Expresses opinions with ease. Have learned in your head a bank of expressions that you can use and easy opinion phrases. Have some positive and some negative, so that if you're ever in doubt, you can just trot one of them out. In all my years of doing oral exams, what most people do, I ask them a question, they understand the question, but they just don't actually have an opinion on that issue. So it's not a question of them not having the French ability, they just have this total mind blank because they think, I don't have an opinion on that and I don't know what to say. So in that situation, if that happens to you, where you feel that panic, just go into your brain and select either a positive or negative opinion from the bank that you've got in your head, okay? I've seen many people freeze due to that issue, because there are something which they've never thought about and they don't really care about. They don't care about school meals, so they've never really thought about an opinion for them. Okay, opinions, very important then. Pronunciation, intonation are accurate as well. And there are 8 final marks available for your linguistic knowledge and accuracy. So once again, this is to do with can you use the present, past and future tenses correctly? So having a bank of present, past, future tense verbs in your head is absolutely vital for so many elements of the GCSE, for the role play, for the photo card, for the general conversation, and also for the writing exam as well. So it really is very worthwhile learning a small bank of verbs. It's almost like emergency verbs you can use in any situation. For linguistic knowledge and accuracy, it's about showing range of language as well. So if you can also have in your head pre-learned a small bank of impressive phrases which can be adapted to any scenario, such as the je dirais que, I would say that. Doesn't matter what the topic is or what the question is, I could use that in any scenario. So when you're learning phrases to take in, make sure that they are easily used. Don't make it anything too specific. Otherwise, it's a very slim chance you'll be able to use it. Responses are coherent, so in the 8 mark section, any errors do not hinder the clarity of communication. So basically making sure it's clear what you are saying to me.